a little more light. Hello, YouTube, etc. How you guys doing tonight? Let me get Instagram and then Substack's already going, but I want to pull up Substack so I can see your comments. One moment here. Hello, everybody. There we go. All right, Instagram is live. Substack, pulling up your comments. Oop, no Substackers yet, but they'll be here soon. All right. We are waiting for our mighty Substackers. All righty. Okay, there we go. All right, everything's good. Everything's good. Let me start TikTok. I do like to get TikTok. I've lately been trying to get it set up before, but today was a little more complicated getting it set up. Oh, that's funny. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh God, I have to share this video with myself. It's a bunch of French traditional dancing on stilts. I've never seen this before. It somehow just came onto my screen when I went on TikTok. I'm like, that is the funniest damn thing ever. French traditional dancing on stilts. It was very cool in its own weird French way. French, like not Paris kind of way. All right, hold on here. All right, there we go. Iran war update. Dog, don't even. Don't even. All right, hold on here. Yeah, she wants treats now. So now remember, like, I think somebody said, and I said, you know what? It's going to bite me in the ass. Somebody was like, give her treats. That'll get her happy. Yeah, well, she's had her treats now. And now she wants more at the beginning of each show because she's really, really smart. Hi, love you. Not getting anything. I've literally got some for the end of the show. All right, going live. Woo-woo. Finally. Oh, my God. Hello, there we go. Hello, TikTok. All right, YouTube, TikTok, Discord, Substack, everybody. Woo-woo. Hello, all. There we go. Much better now. Much better. Welcome, everybody. John Aravosis here. We are going to talk about the latest news. Actually, there's way too much news today. Everything is totally effed up. The Iran thing, total disaster. Trump is now trying to make excuses. He's totally trying to make excuses, and it's like, no, I don't think so. Trump lied again and said today, oh, we destroyed Iran's total military. CBS did a report. Oh, my God. Like, we did not destroy Iran's military at all. I'm going to get into that. The situation with the talks, total disaster. Everything, the situation with the Strait of Hormuz, total disaster. I mean, across the board, this entire thing is one big cluster F. Basically, what the experts are saying is the Iranians have decided, well, there's two things. One, Iran apparently is in somewhat chaos right now. Secondly, they don't really care. They're like, you know what? Let's leave the Strait of Hormuz closed, and, you know, what happens, happens. Let's get rolling here, guys. So welcome. I'm John Aravosis. Please do keep the gifts coming. I do this for a living, so your gifts are very much appreciated on TikTok and YouTube and everywhere else. With no further ado, let's jump into it. So, Axios. President Trump is giving Iran's warring factions a short window to unify behind a coherent counteroffer, or the ceasefire he extended Tuesday ends, according to Axios. So basically, Trump extended the ceasefire last night, but Iran is in such a mess right now. Well, okay, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but it seems there are conflicts in Iran between the Revolutionary Guard, who are the ideological Islamic soldiers, basically, and the actual civilian leaders, the head of the parliament, the minister of foreign affairs. The actual Ayatollah, nobody's heard from, so they're not sure. Remember, he was injured, and we thought he was injured. Might have been more injured. Hard to know what's going on with that. It's a cluster right now, what is going on with this. Trump is willing to give another 3 to 5 days of ceasefire to allow the Iranians to get their shit together. One U.S. source said it's not going to be open-ended. Bullshit. You know, for Trump to make these kind of threats right now, the Iranians, I mean, I'm sorry. The Iranians know what's going on. Trump is desperate for this war to end. The American people, I'm going to talk some polls in a minute. Trump's poll numbers are now worse than after January 6th. Literally, his poll numbers are worse than January 6th. I'm giving the dog a tap on the head, are worse than January 6th. That's how bad his poll numbers are. The American people are so not in support of this war. Republicans, even though they support him, because what do you do? Cult. They're not happy because he promised he was going to stop all wars, and he's been starting all wars since he got elected. Republicans are freaking out about the fall elections. Iran knows this. Iran knows he's in trouble. Iran knows, guess what? Trump got into the Middle Eastern quagmire we all warned him about, right? Yes, Iran, very bad country, very bad leadership. Very evil. They are. It's a terrorist country. I mean, terrorist leaders who run Iran. We know that. We know that. But that's not the only reason you get into a war. And Republicans love to do this. They love to get us into wars based on huge mistakes because the other guy's evil. Yes, the Iranian leadership is evil. But if you're going to get into a war, here's a crazy idea. Get into a war. Thank you, running. Thank you, sun. Was that sun especially? Thank you, sun and moon, for the party laser. If you're going to get into a war, you better be sure, one, you can win it. Two, you actually have goals. Like, in order to win it, why are you there? Why did you go in? What are you hoping to accomplish? Well, I've been saying from the beginning, Trump keeps changing the reasons of why we're there. He doesn't know why we're there. And therefore, if you don't know why we're there, you don't know what winning is. And now we found, and again, I kind of love this too, that Trump is bragging about having taken out, thank you, Big Hawk. And thank you, who was that? Sadie as well. Thank you, Sadie. Actually, Sadie, very nice. Steve as well, very nice with a meerkat. Trump has been bragging about taking out killing so much of the Iranian leadership. Well, now it looks like he may have screwed up because he killed so much of the Iranian leadership that the remaining guys are in chaos, partially because he killed everybody and partially because they're really pissed off. The Revolutionary Guard is now saying, that's it. We're not reaching any deal with the guy who killed all of our leadership. Now, I'm not saying that you don't go after the leadership if you're attacking a country, but this is sort of like the bear thing, right? If you're going to shoot a bear, you better kill it, is the expression. It's an Alaskan expression. Actually, people say it about the king too. If you're going to go after the king, you better take him out, right? Really, just crazy stuff. Secretary of the Navy's been fired. Oh God, you're for sure. I'm just checking. For sure, the Secretary of the Navy's just been fired. Oh God. Well, who's the other one he fired? It was the Army Chief of Staff. He fired the military head of the Army. Now he's firing the Secretary of the Navy. I just want to pull this up. Yep. John Phelan is leaving. We're in the middle of a war, guys. We're in the middle of a freaking war. Navy Secretary abruptly leaves job as U.S. naval blockade of Iran continues. Secretary of the Navy John Phelan is leaving his position effective immediately. That means he's fired. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell announced, on behalf of the Secretary of War, we're grateful. No, you're not. You fired him. The announcement comes while the U.S. Navy is carrying out a blockade of Iranian ports during a ceasefire in the Iran war. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. God, this is a freaking mess. Guys, we're at war, and we lost the head of the Navy and the head of the Army in just the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's how well this war is going. This guy, thank you, SJF. Man, imagine if Obama did this. Imagine if Biden did this. They went to war, and then everything just totally blew up in their faces. There's a lot more news here. This is a freaking mess. Absolute freaking cluster F with what's going on here. Trust me, I've got too much news to go through today with you guys. So part of the news today was the Pentagon says it may take 6 months in order to eliminate the mines in the Strait of Hormuz. 6 months it's going to take. Those 6 months, the clock starts ticking when the war is over. Once we reach a peace agreement, then it's going to take 6 months because Iran has deployed at least 20 mines, and apparently they're impossible to find. And the Pentagon briefed Capitol Hill today. They briefed Congress and said, the Pentagon believes it is going to take 6 months from when the war ends for us to fully demine the Strait of Hormuz. What does that mean? That means, I don't know what the hell that means. I mean, what I mean is, I don't know how you get anybody coming through the Strait of Hormuz if there's ships, if there's mines there, and we can't get them. Who's going to put an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz if there are mines there, and there are hidden mines and we don't know where they are, right? I mean, this is insane. This is absolutely insane what's going on. He has created a massive cluster F with this entire thing. Then here's one of my favorite. Oh, and actually, well, I'm going to get to some of the price stuff later because, by the way, what do you think is going to happen? Thank you, Davio. What do you think is going to happen if the Strait of Hormuz stays closed for another 6 months? Energy prices are going to explode this summer. I was reading an article on this today. You start to deal with summer travel. You start to deal with Europeans building up their stock for the winter. Like all of a sudden in a few months, demand is going to hit. If the Strait of Hormuz is closed for 6 months, we are already seeing energy prices go through the roof on the spot market. In other words, it's the futures market for what prices are in a few months that they're high, but they're still, they're high, but they're not crazy. They're crazy when you look at the spot market, something like $200 for diesel fuel, something nuts like this. Listen to this, Trump today, and this is how screwed up Trump is about what's going on, okay? Oh, air travel, we're getting into air travel in a second. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. I'm getting to air travel, just wait, that story's coming up. Trump today says about the Strait of Hormuz being closed, it was a trick. He wanted the Strait of Hormuz closed all along. I'm going to read you this freaking quote from this guy. I mean, this guy, okay? Right? He's been bitching for like a month and a half about the Europeans because he's desperate to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now he's saying, oh, it was his big plot. Oh, actually, that's really funny. Thank you, Jess. I love when the gifts coincide with like the wig and stuff. It literally put the hat over the wig. That was very cool. That's like with the tiara. Well, actually, if anybody wants to do the tiara it ends up being a Lady Di look, I think. We found that out before. It puts the tiara right around the wig. It's very funny. This is my my Donald Trump wig. So listen to Donald Trump's tweet today, okay? Listen to this. Iran doesn't want the Strait of Hormuz closed. They want it open so they can make $500 million a day, which is therefore what they are losing if it is closed. Oh, you can't sneak anything by him. They only say they want it closed because I have it totally blockaded. Closed. So they merely want to save face. People approached me 4 days ago saying, sir... Okay, I have to break character for a moment here. Whenever Donald Trump gives a story in which the characters say sir, he's lying. The sad part with all of this is we all learned, like during his first term, that it's always a lie when he gives it. There are literally no stories that start with, and then the man says to me, sir, it's always, hey! It's always a lie, okay? Thank you, Mrs. Toad. It's always a lie. So now that he's telling the sir story, it means it's a lie, right? What is the mic doing, guys? Blue? I don't know what that isn't helpful. Like, it's cutting in and out. Well, that's not good. Let me unplug a second. Hold on. God damn this thing. Actually, that could be, you know what? Let's just unplug it. All right. I'm unplugging the mic for you guys for TikTok. I'm using the regular, here. Well, it should be fine now because I unplugged the mic. Is it fine now? All right. I unplugged the mic. Now we're just using my iPad. Okay. I'm just going to use the iPad. For you, interesting that it's being okay on YouTube. But, okay. So, yeah, for the rest of the show, if anybody whines about the mic, just say, you'll live. Okay. So, people approached me 4 days ago saying, sir, Iran wants to open up the strait immediately. But if we do that, there can never be a deal with Iran unless we blow up the rest of their country, their leaders included. So Trump is now trying to claim that he wanted the Strait of Hormuz closed all along. That Iran isn't the one who shut down the Strait of Hormuz. It's Donald Trump who shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran actually wants to open it, which is why they shot at 2 ships today. By the way, Iran so wants to open the Strait of Hormuz that they shot at 2 ships today that were trying to sneak through the Strait of Hormuz. He's trying to take credit for it now. Not to mention, if I were, I don't know, somebody in America who didn't like Donald Trump, very interesting that Donald Trump is saying he's the reason to blame for the Strait of Hormuz being closed. He's the reason to blame for that oil prices and gas prices have gone through the roof because energy, 20% of the world's energy is not getting to the world, right? So Trump himself is now mean, think about it. Trump himself is now saying that he's the one responsible for the Strait of Hormuz being closed and for energy prices going through the roof. Okay. The Axios. Several U.S. officials. We already drew this, right? Increasingly. Here we go. Listen to this from Axios. Again, talk about how screwed up Trump is with where the war stands. And like the Iranians don't know this. Listen to this. Several U.S. Thank you, Lamb Chop. Several U.S. officials and Trump associates drew the same conclusion. The president thinks the U.S. has achieved everything it can militarily and wants out of the increasingly unpopular war. He won't resume it until he has exhausted every other option. Quote, it certainly looks like Trump doesn't want to use military force anymore and has made a decision to end the war, said one source close to Trump. You know, Iran has the internet too. Iran knows that story just as much as I do and just as much as you do. We are trying to negotiate with a country when our president is the worst bluffer on the planet. His cards are on the table. We know he's desperate to end this war. We know he's panicked to end this war. He's panicked about the war going through November, about the war affecting the election, and he's desperate to make it stop. How do you negotiate with somebody if they're desperate, right? You basically say, oh, well, which is what Iran is doing. Iran is just going, oh, well, So what else we got? United Airlines. United Airlines CEO said today, plane fares are expected to go up 15% to 20% because of the fuel price increase from the Iran war. So airline prices for United alone are expected to go up 15 to 20%. You know the other airlines are going to do the same things. That's a hell of a lot of inflation. 20% price increase is pretty freaking high. That's a hell of a lot. Lufthansa just cut 20,000 flights to save fuel as prices soar. 20,000 flights? Bloomberg just published a piece. I'm going to read you some of this. Bloomberg's piece says the title of the Bloomberg article is, Here Comes the Food Price Inflation. Food inflation is now about to hit us. Now, it was already hitting us because of Trump's tariffs. Now it's coming because of energy spikes. Listen to this. Quote, it should be obvious by now that the impact of the Iran war will take time to work its way through the global economy. Last week, we still had ships unloading barrels of oil that they had picked up in the Gulf before the conflict began. Many companies have stockpiles of critical chemicals and materials that act as a buffer to immediately price shocks. This is Bloomberg. And in agriculture, the full effects of high fertilizer costs won't really be fully felt until harvest. But when it comes to food, all the signs are already pointing to higher prices. Bank of America's commodity inflation trend spotter for food and beverage companies, thank you, Lisa, or Lisette, and beverage companies shows March input costs up a whopping 373 basis points to 7.9% year on year. So food and beverage prices for the inputs are up about 8% on a yearly average. That jump was driven mostly by diesel and heating oil. Listen to this from Bloomberg. The jump in food prices in the last month was driven mostly by diesel and heating oil, meaning we have not yet seen much impact from things like higher plastic prices or fertilizer just yet, other things that are affected by the oil prices. There's a sequence at play here. There's also a layering effect as higher fertilizer costs get added on top of fuel expenses. For example, it says urea prices are surging. Once Corn Belt urea goes up, urea is important for fertilizer, right? Once Corn Belt urea prices go up, however, you start seeing higher prices for everything from actual grains to beef, chicken, eggs, ethanol, etc. For corn, 40 to 50% of operating costs are fertilizer. 40 to 50% of the operating cost for growing corn is fertilizer. Since corn is the #1 feed grain in the U.S., this can drive up the price of beef, pork, chicken, egg, and dairy prices, creating protein inflation. That's the problem, because we are now looking at this causing a massive inflation crisis spreading throughout the entire U.S. economy. And again, I take you back to that story at the beginning. The Pentagon briefed Capitol Hill today, and the Pentagon employees said that we cannot reopen the Strait of Hormuz for a good 6 months. And it's 6 months after the war ends. It's going to take for us to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which means this energy crisis may stick for 6 months. And if it sticks for 6 months, if you're following what's going on in the news, a lot of the experts are saying basically things are much worse than the current price of oil is letting on. When I say current price, I mean it's a futures price. That the current price for oil is way lower than it should be. And it's making people think, it's making you think that things aren't that bad. I mean, obviously things are already bad with gasoline prices, right? But what the experts are saying is, oh no, there is a crisis brewing and it's way worse than you think because the price of oil is actually way lower than it should be for how bad this crisis is. And they're saying it's coming, it's going to be bad. Trump said on Tuesday, listen to this. Trump said on Tuesday that the United States was considering offering financial support to the United Arab Emirates, an oil-rich ally that has been contending with economic fallout from the war in Iran. We're looking at giving economic aid to one of the rich Arab oil states? One of the rich Arab oil states that loves to increase oil prices on us. They never give us aid, right? They never give us a break. When we ask for a break in oil prices, they're always like, oh, maybe not, right? These guys are filthy rich. They're filthy rich, these people. And they expect us, and Trump is talking about doing it. And the news later today was there's actually like a large number of countries asking the U.S. for assistance now. We've got inflation starting to go through the roof because of Trump's war. And rather than giving assistance to American consumers, he's giving assistance to rich Arab oil states, just like he did to Argentina, right? When do we start getting assistance? Oh, that's right, the tariffs. Did you hear what he's doing with the tariffs? The first big chunk of money, it's like $160 billion or something. Trump isn't going to give it back to consumers. We're the ones who paid the tariffs. He's going to give it back to the companies. The problem is 95% of the tariffs, the companies passed on to us with higher prices. So if Amazon or your grocery store or whatever had to pay higher tariffs, 95% of the tariff, they simply raised the price on the goods, so we paid for it. So now they basically paid next to nothing extra, but they're going to get all the tariffs back. Even Costco. Now, if Costco didn't raise prices, then I'm fine with it. But otherwise, when do we get relief, right? Rich Arab oil states want relief, and we're looking at giving them relief. Boggles the mind. In other news, huge news out of Virginia last night. Virginia voters approved a measure intended to greatly boost the number of Democratic seats in the House. So basically, Republicans screwed up. All the Republicans. Ari Fleischer, who's a jerk. He worked for George Bush, the second one, the liar who got us into the war. Ari will defend Donald Trump until the cows come home. Ari said last night, Republicans screwed up. I said they were screwing up. So what happened was, last summer, you may recall, remember Donald Trump wanted to steal a bunch of congressional seats because the elections are coming up, and Republicans, even as of last summer, there were serious concerns that Republicans might lose the control of the House of Representatives in the elections that are happening this November. Well, in order to stop that from happening, right, Trump ordered Republicans to go and steal a bunch of congressional seats. The way they do it, it's very complicated, but the way they do it is the seats in the House of Representatives are allocated every 10 years. Every 10 years, we have a national census. We figure out how many people live in each state. And based on that, we allocate how many of the 435 congressional seats, specifically 435 seats in the House of Representatives, go to each state. So there's 435 seats no matter what. So what we do is every 10 years, we look at the population and we figure out who gets those seats, right? If California gets bigger, California gets more. If Illinois gets smaller, Illinois doesn't get as many members of the House of Representatives. So every 10 years, you redo it. Trump ordered Republicans last summer to do it now. He said, I want you now to do a new, not a census, but to do a new apportionment. I want you to just go. And by the way, it's very complicated, but basically when they do this, they have to draw maps. So if Illinois has 18 seats or whatever, Illinois is this state shaped like this, they've got to draw 18 seats. Well, when they draw them, they don't just draw them. They don't just say, they don't just say Illinois is this big, let's have 1 seat, 2 seat, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, no. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, when they draw the seats, they try to draw them in a way that helps their party and hurts the other party. So for example, if you've got, let's say you've got a part of the state here that's very Democratic, let's say, and you're a Republican, and you don't want Democrats to have, maybe you've got a part of the state here that gets, I don't know, 4 Democratic seats. I don't know what it is. Rather than saying, okay, 1 Democratic seat, 2, 3, 4, you cut it apart and you say, well, this part we'll give to this. Here's a big Republican chunk. We'll give them a little bit of the Democrat. Here's another Republican chunk. We'll give them this part of the Democrats. So basically, you take a huge Democratic, and Democrats do this too, you take a huge Democratic area and you chop it into smaller pieces and you give a piece to different Republican areas. It's called gerrymandering, so that the Democrats don't have a majority. So that the Republicans, so you could make it. You could make it so that Democrats are half the vote and Democrats get 1 out of 10 seats. Well, this is what Democrats just did in Virginia to get even. Donald Trump ordered Republicans last summer to redraw the seats and to steal them, and they did. Texas said, we're doing it. Texas said, we're going to steal 5 seats in Congress, and they did, and they did. Democrats were freaking out because it literally could have stopped the Democrats from winning the House of Representatives this fall. So Democrats said, okay, we'll do it too. California said, okay, we'll do it. California held an election. In Republicans in Texas just stole the seats. Republicans just did it. California, Democrats being a little more democratic, literally, Democrats said, well, we're going to have an election. So they had an election in California, and they said, would you like us to redivide these seats temporarily to even out the Texas thing? Yes. So California, I think, got maybe 5 seats. Then Florida is trying to steal a couple seats. You had a couple, Missouri, you had a couple other Democratic or Republican states. Thank you, Ada. You had a couple other Republican states trying to steal seats. So other Democratic states said, okay, and one of them was Virginia. Virginia, I believe, is around 60% Democrat, 40% Republican. Pretty much the congressional, I think there's 10 congressional seats. I think they break down more or less. I read the article last night. They break down more or less like that. Maybe it's 6 Democrats to 4 Republicans, something like that. The new thing they passed should be, is it 11? Okay. Thank you, Cindy. 6-5. Okay, 6-5. So I knew it was within 1. So 6-5. The new one is going to give Democrats like 9-1 or 10-1 to Republicans instead of 6-5. Now, too bad. The reason they're doing it is because the Republicans started it. They're doing it because Donald Trump, 10-1, 10-1. Thank you, guys. Because Donald Trump ordered Republicans to steal the seats and steal the election. And Democrats said, okay, if that's what you want to do. And Democrats were able to take more seats than Republicans. So now all the Republicans are admitting it backfired, that actually Republicans are in a worse position than they are today. Really amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing what's going on in terms of this. And Virginia voted for it last night. Now, this still is being challenged in court. We'll still see if judges say that, because judges do weigh in occasionally and say that map isn't fair. Maybe not enough, but it's possible they could still block it. They could still block it. Now, somebody says a federal judge blocks the election. Well, they wouldn't block the election. That's stupid. Yeah, there's no. If you're gonna troll, you might as well try. I don't think. I did not see anything about that happening today. I can look and see, but I did not see anything about that. Let me pull up Virginia. Now, it is entirely possible that a judge blocked it pending a court case. That's entirely possible. I'm seeing a couple of people say that. Yeah, here we go. Virginia judge blocks redistricting referendum results. Blocking the results, but I'm going to guess it's pending. A Virginia court issued an order blocking the results of a congressional redistricting referendum. Let me see here. 1 second here. The judge. Oh, interesting. The judge didn't just temporarily did it. The judge didn't like it. The judge said the referendum question was void. Oh, the referendum question was void from the beginning. Any and all votes for or against the proposed constitutional amendment are ineffective. He enjoyed the state from taking any actions to update or alter election districts. This article doesn't say enough. Okay. What I'm guessing is one of the things they were arguing is that the way it was framed wasn't correct or whatever. This isn't saying enough. They're going to appeal it and see what happens. Let's see what happens. But pretty wild. If this thing succeeds, it's going to be a big deal. I want to find, hang on here. I'm trying to find These guys are lawyers. Let me see. Virginia judge temporarily halted the state's newly approved. State officials are already moving to try to overturn the rule, setting up a rapid legal fight in the state Supreme Court. In a decision issued Wednesday on a Republican lawsuit, a judge ruled that the legislature's constitutional amendment and the referendum voters just approved were invalid. The court declared the amendment invalid from the start, ordered blah, blah, blah. The judge also went further, issuing a permanent injunction, a legal order that blocks action going forward, preventing state officials from certifying the results. Fair enough. This ruling is far from the final word. Virginia Attorney General is going to appeal. The appeal is expected swiftly, could ultimately land before the Supreme Court of Virginia. Here we go. The court's decision hinges on procedural and constitutional arguments about how the amendment was passed, including timing requirements and legislative steps. Okay, so it's very arcane stuff. Kind of disputes appellate courts often revisit. Okay, well, we're going to find out. In any case, very interesting. More here. Oh, so another thing that happened last night. I mentioned in a last night's show, Trump went ahead with it. They've indicted the Southern Poverty Law Center because they go after NZs and the Ku Klux Klan. Literally, Donald Trump is going after the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization famous for taking down the Ku Klux Klan and taking down neo-NZs. That's what they do. And Donald Trump is upset with them because in his mind, and it's a little fucked up, but in his mind, and we've seen this with others of his ilk, if you say the Ku Klux Klan is bad or white supremacists are bad, you must be criticizing Republicans, they say. I would argue that sounds kind of crazy, right? I mean, you shouldn't be offended. If you're not a white supremacist, you shouldn't be offended by organizations that take down white supremacists. If you're not an ally of the Klan, then you shouldn't be upset when somebody takes down the Klan, obviously, right? This is not rocket science. Nonetheless, they got a number of indictments against them last night. Tucked into Trump's $1.5 trillion Pentagon request. Remember, Trump is increasing or wants to increase the Pentagon budget by $500 billion from $1 trillion to 1.5. Tucked into the $1.5 trillion Pentagon request is $54.6 billion for drones, a 24,000% increase over last year. Who just happens to have gotten into the business of making drones? Don Jr. and Eric Trump Jr. Just grab my paperclip here. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Epstein update. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was that big Republican Trump supporter who kind of has had it with Trump now. Marjorie Taylor Greene says that Trump flat out told Attorney General Pam Bondi, do not release the Epstein files. She told Shannon Joy Radio. Trump, quote, Trump was blocking everybody. He said, my friends will get hurt. People at Mar-a-Lago, they're going to get hurt, Trump said. Marjorie Taylor Greene says his reasoning was, people are going to get hurt. He was publicly saying it's a Democratic hoax, saying all this stuff and shaming people. But behind the scenes, he was telling all of us, he was telling Mike Johnson, the speaker, people are going to get hurt. Greene also notes that Trump flat out refused to have the victims in the Oval Office. Oh, that's interesting. She wanted to have the victims come, and he said there's no way we're going to have the victims. Very interesting. Let me see here. Oh, there's another one. All right. A federal judge tossed out a Kash Patel defamation suit against FBI official Frank Figliuzzi. This is great. Figliuzzi's claim that Patel spent more time in nightclubs than at the FBI headquarters was rhetorical hyperbole. He sued the guy for saying on TV that he spends more time in nightclubs than the FBI headquarters, and he sued him. And the judge said, that's rhetoric. Like, that's just an exaggeration. So that's good. Washington Post. The Centers for Disease Control, thank you for the gift, Lady Bond. The Centers for Disease Control, our top, disease-fighting body, will not publish a report showing COVID shots cut the likelihood of hospital visits. The report, which had cleared the agency's scientific review process, had been delayed. It now won't be published at all. You know, this is not how science works. Science doesn't care about your feelings. Science doesn't care about your biases, right? Science is science. You do the math, you do the investigation, you run the numbers, and if the numbers add up one way, then that's the way you go. If a vaccine works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You don't get to play politics with it. And they're literally, Trump just killed a report that showed that COVID helped keep people out of the hospital. Thank you, Linda. Because it would make his supporters upset if they found out the truth about the COVID vaccine. That is fucked up. What else we got? Patel. Oh, listen to this. Listen to this from the New York Times. Listen to this from the New York Times. Somebody said that's how the mafia works. Oh, it gets better. Listen to this. New York Times. Kash Patel investigated a New York Times reporter who wrote about his girlfriend. The FBI began investigating a New York Times reporter last month after she wrote about the bureau director Kash Patel using bureau personnel to provide his girlfriend with government security and transportation. Agents interviewed the girlfriend, queried databases for information on the reporter, Elizabeth Williamson, and recommended moving forward to determine whether Ms. Williamson broke federal stalking laws. They were going to accuse her of stalking because she wrote an article about Kash Patel's girlfriend using federal money to gallivant around the country for security and also to fly around the country. Stalking. Stalking. Let me go on. Those actions prompted concerns among some Justice Department officials who saw the inquiry as retaliation for an article that Mr. Patel and his girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, did not like, and who determined there was no legal basis to proceed with the investigation. In response to questions from the Times this week, the FBI said that while investigators were concerned about how the aggressive reporting technique crossed lines of stalking, the FBI is not pursuing a case. The Times article, published February 28th, described how Ms. Wilkins has a full-time protective detail of special weapons. She's got a SWAT team. I forgot about this. She's got a full-time SWAT team. The SWAT agents who should be going after terrorists are defending this girl because she's his girlfriend. She's got a full-time SWAT team drawn from FBI field offices around the country to accompany her to engagements, including singing appearances and a hair appointment. That's why they're pissed, because it embarrassed him. The disclosure intensified questions over Mr. Patel's use of taxpayer-funded resources for personal use not long after he drew headlines for celebrating in Milan with the U.S. men's hockey team after its gold medal victory in the Olympics. You'll recall that he used the FBI private jet to fly to the Olympics, claimed it was for work meetings, and then we all saw the famous video of him drinking like a fish with the and screaming at the top of his lungs. Yeah. Man, unbelievable. Here's another unbelievable one. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., right, our top health official who doesn't like health. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, you're fine. Relax. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Is worried that scientists and scientific research are leaving the U.S. Quote, quote, this is from their Twitter feed. China is now eating our lunch. He warns that the U.S. is losing its edge to China in medical research and drug development. They've got more drugs approved last year. They went from running 3% of clinical trials to running 30%. We are losing scientists. We're losing intellectual property. We're losing the best researchers. Do you know why we're losing the best researchers? Because these guys chased them out of the country. Because these guys killed their research. $500 million of mRNA research was killed by RFK Jr. because his people, Trump's people, don't. This is the crazy stuff. They killed funding for mRNA research because mRNA research was used to create the COVID vaccine. And remember, they don't like COVID, so they're punishing the vaccine, and they're punishing the vaccine companies, and they're punishing the science that made the vaccine. By the way, the vaccine was very effective, obviously. They're punishing the science that made the vaccine, and they killed all the research. And they've done this across the board. They killed, I mean, the Doge people as well, correct the Doge people. And a bunch of researchers have now left the United States. By the way, a number of the researchers as well, we had foreigners researching here. We had foreigners coming to American universities and doing research for America. They don't come anymore because we've been arresting them and throwing them in prison for crazy, and looking through their computers and everything else. Man, I mean, unbelievable, these people. I pulled up that article that I told you about yesterday. I wanted to read a little more. I finally read it last night. The Washington Examiner is a conservative publication here in Washington, D.C., very, very Republican. I mean, very Republican publication. And they published an opinion piece yesterday. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. They published an opinion piece yesterday. Yep, by 1 degree. Titled, Donald Trump is Losing His Mind. He's going to lose his mind when he sees this piece. Listen to this. Imagine it was someone other than President Donald Trump. Suppose a different leader were posting deranged rants in the small hours, insulting the spiritual leader of 1.3 billion Catholics, threatening entire civilizations with annihilation, and comparing himself to God. What would the reaction be? We all know the answer. Both parties would be rushing to bundle him out of office before he did irreversible harm to the republic. Yet, as we also know, different rules apply to Trump. A 79-year-old man who has long dealt in chaos is now being consumed by that chaos. His episodes are becoming more frequent. This is a Republican publication, the Washington Examiner. I mean, I'm talking Republican. Like, this is not, the bulwark. This is solid. The Washington Examiner, I couldn't stand these people. They were total Republican sycophant, total Republican publication. A 79-year-old man who has long dealt in chaos is now being consumed by that chaos. His episodes, that's kind of a good word. His episodes are becoming more frequent, his good days further apart. What he has lost is not a sense of decency or decorum. He never had those, but any remaining sense of self-control. Quote, everyone around him can see it. Yet, whether from ambition, cowardice, or weary acceptance, they keep looking for ways to rationalize his behavior. The tragedy is no longer Trump's. It's now America's. I mean, first of all, they're in trouble because they're going to stick the FBI on them or God knows what. Kind of amazing this is a very conservative publication. The Washington Examiner, I mean, they just are. They're Republican. They were formed as a Republican publication. I literally sent them a tweet last night. I was like, thank you. Like, you don't get this. You get this from Never Trumpers. You don't get this from anybody else still in the Republican establishment, right? That sort of stands up and says, you are bad for America. And they did. I mean, amazing, absolutely amazing. Reuters reports that the U.S. military has begun using Ukrainian-developed SkyMap command and control systems at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. SkyMap integrates radar and sensor data into a real-time operational dashboard, helping identify and track aerial threats. It was developed in 2022 by Ukrainian engineers with military ties and supported by Ukraine's Defense Innovation Project. Reuters notes that President Trump previously rejected an offer of Ukrainian assistance in drone defense, saying the U.S. did not need it. Neither the U.S. nor Ukrainian officials commented on this report. The Kyiv Post reports that EU ambassadors approved a 90 billion euro loan for Ukraine after Hungary lifted its veto. And the EU also approved a new 20th sanctions package against Russia. Trump's poll numbers are worse than after January 6th via CNN. Trump's 62% average disapproval rating, 62% disapprove. In the CNN poll of polls, which averages the quality surveys mentioned above, is higher than just about any pollster indicated in either of those past instances. Trump's highest disapproval rating in individual polls in 2017 were 63%, 61, 60. Now it's 62 disapproval. After January 6th, he hit 62% in a CNN poll, 61% in a Quinnipiac, 60% in a Washington Post. He's now an average 62 disapproval. Trump's disapproval is worse today than after January 6th when he tried to violently overthrow the government. This is crazy. I mean, I'm glad, but this is crazy he's doing this badly, okay? Two other things I want to show you. Okay, let me give the dog a touch of water, and then two other things I want to show you, and then we're going to hang and talk. One quick second here. All right, crazy. A little bit of water. A little bit of water. A little bit of water. There you go. All right. All right. All right. Okay. First, Trump takes a picture with the Georgia women's tennis team, and everyone was sharing it. I have to show you this photo. It's insane. It is remind me, I've also got to talk about the state of Iran's military. A story just came out before the show, and I grabbed it, but I didn't even get it into my notes. Hang on a second. But remind me in a second if I don't talk about the state of Iran's military. This is the picture at the White House with Trump of the Georgia women's tennis team. And as many people have noticed, do you note anything wrong with this photo of the Georgia women's tennis team? I mean, is this insane? Is this absolutely insane? I mean, I'm going to show you closer. Look at this. Like, who has the nerve to do this? There's women. The women are back here in back. They hid the women in back. Look at this picture. They literally put the women in back, pushed them together. Sorry for YouTube again. Here. That's the row of women in back behind the guys. They squeezed them together, and then put the guys in front blocking them. I mean, oh, look. There's an African-American woman literally peeking out from the guy's shoulder. This other woman had to bend sideways because she's literally hidden by the guy's head. The photographer didn't even care. She was being hidden. She literally had to be like, I'm over here. This is the Georgia women's tennis team. And Trump decided he and the boys would get in front and block them. I mean, I just, again, not surprised, but, not surprised. The other one I wanted to show you is the Iranians did another video. Oh, my God. I'm hoping to God. Oh, I do have it here. The Iranians did another video. Let me get you this and show you. They're so good at this. I mean, they're just, oops, I'm trying to get the volume here. Okay, the volume should be okay. Okay. All right, so you know what? I'm going to turn up the brightness a little too. Oh, maybe not. It doesn't always need the brightness. All right, let me put this on.
We are having very great negotiations with Iran. If Iran doesn't come to negotiate, we're going to bomb them.
2,000 years later.
So where are the Iranians? This is from Iran.
I mean,
all right. Then I will extend the ceasefire at Pakistan's request.
well, and the thing is, that's exactly what happened. He extends the ceasefire, and he claims, well, Pakistan asked me to. Pakistan asked me to. And we're all going, and all the rest of us were like, why did you extend the ceasefire? Right? I mean, Iran basically broke the ceasefire. Iran broke the ceasefire. And Trump just, Iran broke it in multiple ways. The Strait of Hormuz was supposed to be open. It's not open. Iran attacked 2 ships today. The U.S. government came, right before the show, I saw this. The U.S. government came out and said, we don't consider the attack on the ships a violation of the ceasefire. They attacked 2 ships. What are you talking? Like bombs going off. How is that not a violation of the ceasefire? I mean, they are so good at this. They are so good at this. Thank you for the bees. Thank you, Max. Now, let me read you the CBS News story. So Trump tweeted again hold on, I'm going to find this actually. In the last day, he tweeted something, and I'm going to see if I can find it, okay? Hang on here. Hang on here. Here we go. The Wall Street Journal. Oh, here we go. This is another one of Trump's tweets. Again, the size of these tweets tell you everything. Imagine him writing this much. He's out of his mind, right? Just like the Examiner said. Okay, listen to this. All right. The Wall Street Journal has lost its way, all caps. An idiot on the Wall Street Journal's, oh my God, this is itching my nose. An idiot on the Wall Street Journal's editorial board named Elliot Kaufman just wrote an op-ed entitled, "The Iranians Take Trump for a Sucker." Really? For 47 years, they have killed our people and many others and taken advantage of every president except me. And what did I give to them? A country in tatters. Listen to this, their entire navy is at the bottom of the sea. Lie. Their entire air force is gone. Lie. Their anti-aircraft and radar is wiped out. Their nuclear labs and storage areas were obliterated late one dark June. He's still claiming the nuclear stuff was obliterated in June. But remember, then why did we have to go in to invade again? And right? I mean, like, right. All right. I want to read you this, right? So the entire Navy has been destroyed. Their Air Force is gone. A few hours later, we get from CBS News, the Islamic Republic of Iran maintains more military capabilities than the White House or Pentagon has publicly admitted, according to multiple U.S. officials with knowledge of intelligence. About half of Iran's stockpile of ballistic missiles and its associated launch systems were still intact as of the start of the ceasefire. Roughly 60% of the Navy of the Islamic Republican Guards is in existence, including fast attack speedboats. On Wednesday, Iranian gunboats attacked several commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz shortly after Trump announced he was unilaterally extending the ceasefire. Iranian air power has been significantly degraded, but not erased, said the officials. About two-thirds of Iran's air force is still believed to be... about two-thirds of Iran's air force is still believed to be operational. Jesus Christ. I mean, I just... All I can do is thank God. I'm dropping things as I talk to you. Thank God that this is catching up to him. That's CBS News. That's a big CBS News piece. It literally came out right before the show. Thank God that this is catching up to him, right? Now I'm going to give her a piece. There you go. Now you get a piece. Man. Crazy. But yeah, he's been lying about the condition. Well, everybody knows he's been lying anyway. I mean, I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I got, in other news, speaking of which, I got notified by the Greek embassy today. They got the official notification they needed about my citizenship application being accepted. I will be doing my oath of citizenship in May, in the next couple weeks. They wanted to know dates that work, so I'm getting back to them tomorrow with some dates. So very exciting. I will be a Greek citizen in the next couple weeks. Not moving anytime soon because I've got the dog and, she's old. She's not moving anywhere. But nonetheless, once she's gone, we don't want you to go, just so you know. Once she's gone, I will be doing longer trips to Europe. But very excited. Very, very, very excited. So, yay. Yay. Anyway. So, yes, that was exciting. Still can't believe it. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway. No news on Paramount on the buyout, except it should be interesting to see if the courts block it. They might. If we're lucky, the courts may block it. He wanted to use nukes. I missed that. He wanted to use nukes again? I missed that. I did not see that. Oh, man. Anyway, Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. This is the problem. It goes back and forth from hot to cold, hot to cold.
I've raised the living room by 1 degree.
Thank you. Anyway, what else, guys? Talk about any of this news you want? Exactly. 15 years paid off, man. Tucker Carlson, we talked about Tucker Carlson yesterday. Tucker Carlson has been making very good comments about how he apologizes for inflicting Trump on us. The concern people have is that they think Tucker is preparing for a 2028 presidential run, and he's trying to put himself out there as the anti-Trump and say that Trump screwed everything up, blah, blah, blah. And therefore, Tucker's the guy basically making excuses for don't blame me, right? Don't blame me for Trump screwing everything up. So anyway. Oh, that's good. Mike says Belgium will buy 15 old Gepard fighter jets, I'm assuming, and send them to Ukraine as part of a $1 billion military aid package. That's nice. Very nice. A judge did block the referendum in Virginia, but it's going to be appealed, and we'll see what happens. Iran news. We had lots of Iran news at the beginning of the show. So I can't repeat it all. Yeah, thank God Elon Musk can't run for president. That's true. That's very true. Very true. A Greek villa. I know. That was the other story. I just told you. The other story was CBS News reporting that Donald Trump outright lied again today, saying that we wiped out Iran's Navy and Air Force. We didn't. 2/3 of the Air Force is still operational. 2/3. The Navy, a lot of the Navy is still operational. A lot of their ballistic missiles still operational. I mean, when I say a lot, I mean a lot. This was talking about like half. Crazy percentages. Absolutely crazy. Anyway. Oh, and the Secretary, that's true. The Secretary of the Navy just got fired. Sorry, guys. Oh, I want to adjust my chair. In the middle of a freaking war. We are in the middle of a freaking war, and they just fired the Secretary of the Navy. I mean, and 2 weeks ago, they fired the Army Chief of Staff. So the military head of the Army got fired 2 weeks ago, and today, literally moments ago, they fired the head of the Navy. So we've lost the leaders of the Navy or two of the leaders of the Navy and the Army in the last 2 weeks. I mean, and we're in the middle of a war. And if you're Iran, by the way, you're looking at this and you're going, I'm not sure we need to compromise because it sounds like the Americans, I mean, as much as Trump, and they go, oh, the Iranians are in chaos. You know who else is in chaos? That girl at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, clearing the decks in preparation of what? Well, that's a good question. We don't know. I mean, they've gotten rid of dozens of generals that they think, thank you, Cheryl, generals who wouldn't toe the line, and the question is, toe the line about what? Or this guy, for example, what did he say no to? What did he say no to that made them get rid of him today? Right? They wanted something. Hey! They wanted something that he wouldn't do, is what it sounds like. What was it, right? Very scary stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. You know me, always tired. Always a little tired. Anyway, oh, man. Crazy. Wednesday already, my God. Man. Man, oh man. Refinery explosion? No idea. Thank you, Terry. That's cute. That's very cute. I don't see him much, the kangaroo. That was very funny. It's like this boxing kangaroo with attitude. It's very cute. Train crash in D.C.? Didn't even hear about it. Nope. Did not hear about it. Believe you, but didn't hear about it. She's been quiet the last couple of weeks. I mean, she's a pain, but she's been less whiny. And I'm wondering whether that shot helped, to be honest. Because she got a shot that's a painkiller for arthritis. And now it kind of has me wondering, which would make me feel sad, if she's been in pain the last year, or just enough pain to be whiny. You know? I don't know. Oh, I knew that. You know what? As soon as I said Gepards, I thought they're not going to be planes. I thought about it. I said fighter jets, and in the back of my head I said, I'm forgetting if Gepards are fighter jets or not. I shouldn't have said it. They're the German anti-aircraft tanks. Oh, right. What are they comparable to? What are they comparable to in the U.S. arsenal? I'm trying to remember. Is there anything comparable? There must be. Yeah, I'm remembering. Sorry about that. And the second I said it, I said, don't say that. I'm forgetting what because the Gepards were a topic during the war. Flak guns, Mustard saying? Okay. Anyway, don't go spamming on YouTube or you're going to get blocked. Don't do it. Doesn't matter if Jesus loves me. It's still spam. So don't do it. Anyway, what else, guys? What else? I know, exactly, man. Exactly. Hey, what's up, Sasha? You know, we always give, we unless somebody crosses the line in a horrific way, we give them another chance. Twin autocannon. All right. The AI thing is gone. Oh my God. You're right. Gene just asked that the AI thing disappear on TikTok. I didn't even think about that. You're right. It was feeling awfully calm today. I forgot to even complain. So it was some temporary thing they did. Oh my God. I mean, I did complain to some other people, but I didn't send in just I explained to some people who work with TikTok. You love Sasha's noises because you don't have to hear them all day. Actually, all day she doesn't do. She's doing it now. But she's doing it now because she wants me to give her little treats. So, oh, they were driving me nuts. Am I leaving the U.S.? No, not yet. Again, I can't go anywhere while my dog's alive because she's a little too old to travel at this point. But I'd have to decide what. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start spending more time in Europe. Maybe get some Airbnbs, you know, go 3 months to France, go 3 months to Greece, 4 months, whatever. Maybe Italy, because I've always wanted to live in Italy, but I think Italy would, you know, Italy tax. I couldn't even live in Italy for the taxes, but I could go and Airbnb it now, which that, to me, that's the most exciting. The idea that, I mean, again, we don't want the dog to die, but once the dog is gone, right, we don't want you to go, but I could go to Rome for 3 months. I could go to, you know, Naples for 3 months. You know, I could anywhere I want. I mean, Paris, which I've lived in before, but would like to go live again. Anywhere. Never lived in Germany. I'd consider it. I mean, I don't really know other places. I mean, the places I know are, I certainly would go to Greece. I would definitely move to Athens for a few months. So I may just, you know, and the passport can help if I go over. But you never know. Maybe I'll go for a few months and come back. Who knows? You know what I mean? Just because I've still got my plants. Damien will have to water my plants. That's the shitty part. I've got so many plants that it's some work to actually have somebody watch the apartment, you know? Thank you, Gene. Would I go where I can't speak the language? Well, antapastinellada borona miliso. Se vado in Italia posso parlare. Je peux parler français aussi. So I can hit those places are the top three. I'd consider going somewhere where they don't, but I think it might be, I don't know if it would be uncomfortable moving somewhere where I don't speak the language. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know if that would be too weird. You know, like I don't speak any German. I don't know whether that would be uncomfortable, you know? Having said that, who knows? I mean, move to Prague for 3 months. I don't know. You know, Spain, I've spent a lot of time in Spain. I don't really feel like moving. I mean, I've been to Spain a lot. Y hablo español. But I don't know, or as we grew up learning, hablo castellano. But I don't know that I want to live in Spain. I've spent enough time in Spain, you know? Whereas Italy, I like Spain, but Italy is like Italy. You know, Greece, I would love to spend time in Greece. I've lived in France. I'd like to go back to France. So I don't know. You know? I mean, but who knows? And honestly, Germany, I mean, I've been to Germany several times, but I've never traveled around Germany. Thank you, Flock. So I've seen Berlin back when it was split in half. But I've not done anything in Germany besides Berlin, really. I mean, I've been to Bonn for business stuff and Frankfurt for a weekend, and that's it, you know? But Italy, I wouldn't want to do the taxes. Italy, I love, though. I would love to get an Airbnb for a couple months in Rome. And then, you know, I can bop around, go down to Naples for a week. I mean, just to kind of just live in Italy for a few months and just live there, you know? I'd have to find stuff to do so I don't get bored. Only because, you know, when you're alone, you know what I mean? When you're alone, you've got to find stuff to do, you know what I mean? But, I mean, see when a good season would, because, I mean, Rome was insane. We were there in March. Oh, my God. The tourists were already, that's the only thing that worries me. The tourists were so out of control already, you know? So, condos in Panama. Panamanian Spanish, I got to warn you, my cousins are Panamanian, you know? It's not easy. How long will I stay doing the news? I don't know. A couple of years at least, probably. Maybe I'll eventually semi-retire, like do this, but not every night kind of thing or whatever, you know what I mean? I know, travel companion, exactly. Burp. Up. Yeah, I don't think Germans aren't rude. Somebody said Germans are rude. I don't think of Germans as rude. The Germans I've met are very polite, actually, very proper. Berlin's supposed to be, I mean, I've been to Berlin, but I haven't like partied in Berlin. Berlin's supposed to be a absolute wild hoot for everybody I talk to. You know, I've been a writer before. The problem is I'm a little burned down on writing, to be honest, a little bit. I mean, I don't want to, I was doing a blog. I don't want to do that again. I was having to write 15 things a day. It was too much, you know? So you never know, though. What I would like is I'd like to go to Europe and start doing more photography videos. You know what I mean? Like we could do one of our shows from the Luxembourg Gardens in Paris, like kind of things like that. You know what I mean? Just to kind of, Germans, we don't beat around the bush. No, exactly. Well, somebody had told me once, David Fromm's daughter, actually, who had died, her mother just wrote a very interesting book, by the way, about, you know, dealing with the grief of a daughter, Danielle Crittenden. But their daughter had said to me at the Christmas party once that they were having, or you know, holiday party, that I think she was the one who said Israelis versus, she spent a lot of time in LA and a lot of time in Israel. And I believe the quote she told me was, in LA, they're nice, but they're not kind. In Israel, they're not nice, but they're kind. And I remember at the time I had to kind of think about it, but I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like the Israelis, they're not nice at all, but they're very kind people. From LA, they're very nice people and they're not kind at all. So in other words, in LA, they're just vicious, but they're very nice. And in Israel, they come across very vicious, but they're actually very nice. But anyway, I just thought it was very funny. And I think of the Germans, the Germans are a little serious. I mean, I know some Germans that are, but the Germans are a little serious for my tastes. But I don't know, I mean, I've known Germans over the years, studying abroad and everything else. Friends with the Germans, love my German friends, but like, I certainly like Italy's personality more. I might prefer Germans for working, I think. That would be true. That would be true, you know? And I mean, Germans, I mean, I'm very straightforward. I mean, I'm from Chicago. We're very, very straightforward in that way, you know? So, you know. But yeah, exactly. Doing photojournalism or whatever, I think could be kind of fun, you know, or video journalism around Europe or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, I'd love to get a dog over there too, but the problem is I would have to move, and I just, like, already having Sasha over the years, it has crimped my style for traveling. And I don't think, I hate the idea of not having a companion like that, but at the same time, it's too much, you know? I mean, you've got to be able to just pick up and go somewhere, you know? Anyway, not going to worry about it yet. So getting my citizenship first in a couple weeks. Then I've got to wait for some registration, then get my passport. That'll take a couple months. And then it's real. Well, it'll be real anyway, but it'll be really real when I get my passport. So that will be quite fun. I don't know if I'm going to get another dog. I mean, the biggest problem is I don't know that I want to be tied down. I mean, I would love to have another dog. I don't want to be, what am I going to do with it? I live alone. You know what I mean? I can't, like, there's no one to take, and I don't live near family. There's no one to take care of her. That's the shitty part. If I lived near family, then it's like having a baby. You could be like, yeah, give it to and even then, if I go for 2 or 3 months, you can't give somebody your dog for 3 months. It's hard. It's going to be bad enough asking Damien to water my plants for 3 months. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a bit of an imposition. You know? Anyway. Anyway. Pet sitting, see, that's nice. That's nice. You'll babysit, I know. I could, yeah. Well, no, that's the problem. It's like they'd have to watch, but in any case, you get it. And I would feel bad too. I mean, leaving the dog for 3 months at a time. I would, I know I do with the cats. That's true. I was never married. No. Yeah, the cat thing. I've got neighbors that have a cat. He's gone this week, so I'm taking care of his cats. And I will say it's damn easy. I go over there, I clean. I will say these cats pee and poo more than any cat I've seen in my life. Insane quantities of piss and poop. But I clean the litter box every day and then just give them food and we're done. They like me now, so I say hi and stuff, pet them. But it's the easiest damn thing. They're so freaking easy. I could very well move to the EU permanently. There's a definite possibility. Hamburg. Interesting. If I'm from Chicago, I'd like Hamburg. Oh, that's interesting. Why do you say that, JTA? That's interesting. So I see what JTA says, and then I'm gonna sign off, guys. See, now it's still giving me a couple. It's not the AI things like it was before. It's still giving me. It is still giving me some. It actually is still giving me stuff. It's giving me stuff. I don't think it's as much as before. State of Iran's military still pretty good, according to CBS. Big story that just came out. Damien's a very good friend of mine. One of my best friends, who's very kind because he watches the apartment and the plants and stuff like that. You know. Yep. Waiting for JTA to weigh in about Hamburg, and then I'm going to go because we're at 7:15. Actually, Albania. Somebody was telling me Albania is becoming the next big place to visit. Were you guys telling me? Somebody else was saying this. I got to get to Albania before it, before it gets spoiled, because we suspect we have some roots in Albania. So I want to go there and talk to people and find out. Would I advise people who live in America to move elsewhere, depending on the rest of Trump's term? Maybe. If the country continues like this, you know what I mean? I don't know that I want to raise kids in this. I'm sorry, but let's see. But it's things are getting worse. I fear we may have had our heyday. Does the AI give you user data not related to the channel? It doesn't give me the user data at all. It's just, it's weird stuff. Is a longtime Cubs fan, is a longtime watcher and rising star. It literally says that. Yasmin is a rising star. I don't know what the F that's supposed to mean. But it's not as much as before. Brenda is a rising star and a longtime watcher. Give her a shout out. Okay, Brenda, just did. Luna wants you to get a shout out. So you know what? It's still throwing shit up there. I don't think it's as much as before, but it's still there. It's still there. It's annoying. And it's also telling me to follow all of you. No offense, but why would I do that? Right? Like I'm not gonna follow random people. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I follow specific people to get the news from them. You're a rising star, Cubs fan. I don't know what you did. The TikTok's AI thinks you're a rising star. There you go. So anyway, there you go. All right, guys. Who knows why it's saying that? Maybe I don't know if you did you comment? Maybe you did something. I don't know. They don't tell me anything. All right, I'm going to go, guys. Beautiful city, lots of water. The Elbe is a river, shipping port. Chicago has the big lake, bigger than Hamburg, but a lot of water. People are kind and straightforward. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to go. I'll check it out. Yeah. I mean, I've got to go through Germany. I've not seen the castles or any of that kind of stuff, so. All right, guys. And then Austria as well. And then Switzerland. I've been to Switzerland, but only to like Lausanne I've been to Lausanne, Basel, and Geneva. But again, I want to get around to the more scenic parts and everything else. So Romania, I've been dying to go to Romania, actually. I would love to. Just because I've been fascinated by the language. I mean, because I speak Italian and other European languages. So I understand some words in Romanian, but not Romanian, of course. So I've always been very curious about that. Yeah, it really is pushing. Cubs fan is doing it again. Cubs fan is a longtime watcher and rising star. Give them a shout out. It is really pissed at me. It's got a bug up its whatever for you, Cubs fan. I don't know why. It's very funny. But this is what's annoying me. It is doing it again, where it just won't. Actually, you know what? The AI is doing it again. It's just doing it again and again and again. Thank you, Blue. All right, guys. I'm going to go. They speak Hungarian in Romania? Oh, that's interesting. All right, I'm going to go, guys. We're already at 7:19. I try to preserve the voice by doing this for an hour and 15. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. I will see you all tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S. Mañana. I will be back. So until then, I bid you adieu. Discord, we'll start with you guys. Bye-bye. Amanda, thank you. Honest to God, it's like I talked about it and it came back. I really do think that's what happened. It's the funniest damn thing. Their AI isn't working very well if it thinks I wanted it to come back. I swear to God, I think it came back. All right, YouTube et al. Thank you guys, Substack, etc. See you guys. Bye-bye.